Becoming an RBT is going to be the fastest way to accumulate your hours. But you don't have to be an RBT. You can be an ABA therapist, you can be a BT. As long as you have a supervisor that is a BCBA supervising you and you have a contract with them, then you can start accumulating hours. Going the RBT route is the easiest because autism, if you have an autism diagnosis, by law, the insurance has to cover ABA therapy. So BCBAs are kind of stuck underneath this autism umbrella because there's such a high need for it. But also, by law, it's covered. And during my grad program was 3 years long. And there were people in my class that never worked one day in the field of ABA at all. And I'm sharing that because I think it's very, very, very important for you to be in the type of environment that you're going to be working in. And BCBAs can work outside of the autism population, but like I said, it's very, very hard to find something outside of the autism population to accumulate hours or find where a BCBA works. You know what I mean? The easiest one would probably be like in the school setting or maybe a BCBA in a group home. But going back to the RBT, yes, those hours absolutely count. You can either count them as direct or you could count part of your direct hours as unrestricted, which you can ask your supervisor if you can count part of your direct time as unrestricted, because unrestricted hours are collecting data. If you're explaining ABA concepts to a parent or a teacher, that is unrestricted hours. If you're helping with a VB map assessment, if you're uploading goals to Catalyst, if you're doing anything that has to do with your client and learning these skills that a BCBA would need to be doing, that is unrestricted hours. And I say this, that you should start class as soon as you start your first ABA class, you can immediately start accumulating your hours, and you should. Like I said, there was people in my class, it took 3 years to go through that program. And at the end of those 3 years, there were still people that didn't even start their supervision. So supervision, it's at 2,000 hours now. That's about 2 years of additional work outside of earning your degree. So 5 years invested to become a BCBA, when you could have accumulated your hours as soon as you started taking your first class. And I say this because a lot of people are comfortable with where they're at. So if you want to go that route or do partial, not like really invest, get full blown in, then it's going to take a while. I promise you the fastest way, and what you want to do is while you're in school, you want to be exposed to ABA. You want to see how you're applying it so that when you are in class, you could ask your professor, or you can collaborate with your peers and, oh yeah, I had a client like this, or oh yeah, I did this, I tried that, you know what I mean? Because you need to know what you're learning to be able to apply it and actually see, oh, that makes sense. Because the words in our field are very jargony and very hard to really put together until you actually apply it. That's why I created this platform, to make it easy for you guys and give you a visual of how it actually portrays in real life versus in the textbook. So yes, you might have to sacrifice. If you're not in a position where you're working underneath the BCBA, you should absolutely try to get into that, or even if it's part-time. If you could pick up a part-time job at a clinic or doing home services a couple hours, and there's a lot of ABA providers that will happily take part-time people because the need is there. But doing so, you get to be exposed to so many different contingencies. And while you're in school and while you're working in the field, you can figure out your niche. You can figure out, oh, I like clinic. Oh, I don't like clinic too much. Oh, I like the school setting. Okay, yeah, the school setting is definitely for me. Or no, you know what? I like the home. I like being closer and more involved with the families. There's pros and cons to every different tier of environment that BCBAs are in. And I've experienced them all, and I could share the pros and cons to them. But I highly, highly, highly suggest, once you start your practicum, you need to start your supervision.